So Tony, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up being responsible for corporate tax across KPMG in Australia.
Sure, so I've been at KPMG all my life in terms of my professional life. Started there as a graduate too many years ago, about 20 years ago. And I started in our Perth office, and right from the start I sort of had exposure to technology within our corporate tax group, and my fondest memory of that is FBT Simplify, which was a tool that we had many years ago, which has since been owned by someone else. We would go out and present to clients, and only 6 months into my start of career with KPMG, they said, "Tony, how would you like to take a role in demonstrating this software?" And I said, "Sure." And that was for a little while, and I went out there, I'd lug a big case at that time, which is this big data projector, and present to clients and take them through a software tool. I liked it from then and still like to this day in terms of demonstrating something which will help them in a process. I was only in Perth though for about two and a bit years and came across to Melbourne, and always being in corporate tax, but moving from what was a sort of a small market in Perth to a much larger market in Melbourne, and started to get involved in some larger corporates in Melbourne. And those larger corporates had, in one case, 60 tax returns that we had to get done for them. So we quickly discovered the benefits of having a good process and a good software and things that we go through. So for many years I was heavily involved in large compliance projects as part of my role in corporate tax, and it wasn't long before I was pulled into the vortex, as I sometimes call it, of developing software for those large clients. And we did have a development arm within KPMG for a number of years, and while I wasn't actually in that group, I sort of supported it in terms of looking at the technical basis for parts of it. And that was called the Company Tax Kit, as some people might be familiar with, and for 10 years I think KPMG used that as their main tool. That evolved, and we had various other players come through. They then bought that tool and turned it into something else. We then had that tool for probably 3 to 5 years, give or take, and then we went out to market. I lost a decade in there somewhere, but in getting to that point, I was always involved in that part of it because I have a large compliance base within my client portfolio and was always involved in trying to make it better.